ça fonctionne. Okay. Statement of Laura Desevos regarding statements. Recorded direct from subject, October 31st, 2023. Statement begins, I guess. This is awkward. I mean, me talking in English to a tape recorder. I know why I talk to that tape recorder, and I know why I talk in English. After all, the other tapes are from London, and with this language, if you can ignore my stupid accent, more people will understand me. More people will be warned. If you listen to my tape before the others, at least, if you didn't, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You must feel need. Gosh, this is so weird. I actually always wanted to be a writer, a storyteller, somebody who could transform words into pictures and pages into words. Well, this is definitely less fun when you are one part of a scary story. And you'll probably be part of it too. Okay, let me try again. Let's start over. Hi, my name is Laura and I live in France, an hour by train from Paris, inside an apartment surrounded by books and cups of tea. My loneliness is only stopped when a stray cat comes to visit me, and I'm fine by that. I'm a librarian in another town, so yeah, I think I check all the boxes for the nerdy bookworm introvert of the village. I found the bag on my way home as I was walking to take my bus. It was just there in the corner of the street, a big duffel bag, like black and green, and it looked abandoned and lonely. Maybe somebody lost it and it should be left where it was? Or maybe it was some garbage dump and it could have something nasty inside, something rotten. It was suspicious, but in the end I was too curious. I took the bag, opened it, and there were tapes. Hundreds and hundreds of tapes. It was unusual, to say the least, but again I was too curious. I wanted to listen to the tapes in my old car. But I didn't need my car at the end, because I found at the bottom of the bag a tape recorder. And I brought all of that home. Wasn't wise, was it? Taking stuff that doesn't belong to you, that you don't know where it came from. Maybe something haunted. This is the kind of stupid decision that you often blame to main characters in horror movies or books. Well, you're so sure it can't happen in real life, you feel invincible and you act stupid. With the tape recorder, I listened to the first. Yep, the first. I always took one of them blindfoldly, and somehow ended up taking them by chronological order. Even if the dates weren't written on it, just an hashtag and 7 numbers. So it was pure luck, I guess, that I started with the tape, where some guy explained he was working for an institute specialized in the paranormal, sort of. It was unexpected to discover it was in English, but I thought this was some elaborate podcast or an escape game sent by mail. I mean, surely it couldn't have been real. Just to be certain, I did some research about the Magnus Institute, and there's nothing on the internet about their existence. And come on, Jonathan Sims? What kind of name is that? It's It's only when I began to be invested in the story that everything went downhill. I had hyperfixation before. I know I can be impressionable and a little bit too much when there's something I'm passionate about. I think since I have anxiety, I can be addicted to anything that helps me forget my fears. Which is ironic because fears were all those tapes were about. It was cathartic, to hear stories where you can fight the things you are scared of, like physically punch a hole into them or scream to their faces. And you don't look insane when you say you are scared. Gosh, I hate every time that I'm trembling and people are saying that there is no reason to be scared. And yes, I know, but still, at least in these tapes, I get to confront real monsters, real creatures that no matter how brave you are, will make you shiver. I listened to 2 or 3 tapes per day while drinking tea before going to bed, just learning new scary stories, and it was fine. I was thinking about it a lot, but I still were focused enough to work or make dinner or live my life. Until one night, when I was so hooked up, so sure that something deeper was in those stories, that I didn't go to bed. Didn't go to bed at all. Listening to the tapes, taking notes, memorizing names, and when my alarm rang, I realized how crazy this was. I almost didn't recognize myself. The lack of sleep and the nonsense obsession could damage my mental health, and I read enough Neil Gaiman to know that the more importance you give to something, the more power it does. So I decided to do some detox. Yeah. And stopped listening to the tapes for a week. I put the duffel back in my cave and went to work. It was horrible. It wasn't like I was in withdrawal. At the contrary, it was like something was growing in me, something that wanted to get out of me, something that I was supposed to throw up. Not something missing, but something too much, as a third arm that was trying to get through my chest. But I carried on. I worked, I went back to my place I ate, and I went to bed. And I had a nightmare. You know, the kind of nightmare where you don't know when it starts, when you fall asleep. I was in a library, if I remember correctly. I don't remember how big it was. I think it was endless. Nothing but shelves everywhere. It was messy. It smelled like cigarettes, ashes. And there in the middle was only one desk, where there was the duffel bag. I almost laughed to myself, thinking of messed up I was to think about those tapes in the night. But then I couldn't stop getting closer and closer. I opened it. They were the tapes, all right. But the black covers were airy like deformed tarantulas, and instead of the holes of the spools, there were eyes. Hundreds and hundreds of green and luminescent eyes, orbs with green irises and black veins that were looking to me, and it felt like every bones inside me were melting. And then the films wrapped themselves around me, first catching my hands and feet, chains, a trap designed to stop my blood to flow in my veins. Then slowly the films surrounded every inch of my body, sliding up and up and up, and went inside my ears, between my teeth, under my lids, and squeeze. Again squeeze, and again and draining me and crushing me, and my arms and legs melted together. My heart was beating only to feel pain, like my arteries were outside of my ribs, and my lungs were breathing only my tears and blood, and soon I was nothing but a long cylinder of flesh and bones and magnetic strip. And slowly, the films rewound and my crushed self slimmed inside the tape, until all I was a recorded statement, suffocating in a duffel bag. I woke up having a hot tub breathing, and I could have believed it was some sort of sleep paralysis or nighttime terror, but my body was filled with long cuts around my lips, like I mummified myself with sharp bandages. Couldn't have done that while I was sleeping. No, it wasn't in my head. The cause of it was in my cave. I took a week off the next day, explaining that I felt sick, which they totally believed since I looked like shit. And then I went to the forest to drown the bag in a lake. I thought that the fire wouldn't do much, but maybe water could deteriorate the films. But guess what? I went back home, and the moment I opened the door, I saw in the middle of my living room the duffel bag. I wasn't even surprised at this point. I knew what I had to do to calm the ache in my heart. I listened to all the tapes, and listened, and listened, and listened. I've never been such a good listener, and yet here I was, lying on my bed as the story of the archives were running through my head. A real Greek tragedy unfolded in front of me, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't help me, I couldn't help them, I couldn't tell them they weren't alone. I was here, I knew how they feel, they should tell what they feel to each other, because I knew, and I knew it could have helped. It was frustrating, which is stupid, I know. I know. I'm familiar with this madness. This is going to end badly. That kind of hours only end badly, right? So at some point I was listening not to learn what happened next, but to finish it quickly. Get done with it. I shouldn't be attached to people I've never met who will probably die anyway. I can't help them, so I shouldn't care. I shouldn't care. I didn't even flinch when John spoke in French. With the statement of François Deschamps? It could have been unsettling to hear him talk in my native language, making it far too close to home that what it was supposed to be. I could have been petrified, but no, I just thought, I wonder if he can speak Valerian. It didn't bother me. I didn't care. Who am I kidding? I care. They are humans after all. Carrier of life and hope, and I think there is no entity reincarnate to fight the fears because it's us. It's in us, a light that the cruel illusions can smother but cannot kill. Call it divine or humanity, I want to show myself in the warmth of this loving sun, and protect it forever. But that's not how it works. Not for the archivists. Things began to be worse and worse and worse, and I didn't stop listening. I couldn't stop listening. I shouldn't stop listening. I must stop it once. When John opened the door, I was breathing heavily, shaking, and clinging to the tape recorder in the middle of the night, as petrified as the archivist when he realized what was going on. I turned down the volume, hoping he could change something, but the incantation still screamed in my head, and it felt like my brain was exploding. And then nothing. No nightmares outside my apartment, no monsters under my bed, just the dark. What happened on the other side of the film didn't happen in my world. I sighed of relief, and I continued to listen. And when it was over, when it was finally over, all I wanted to do was to make a statement. So here it is. Add it to the nightmares. Tomorrow the bag will disappear. Don't ask how I know, I just know. I will finally hear birds next to my window again, and maybe the stray cat will visit me after all this time. I also know the bag will hunt someone else, appearing into someone else's street, someone else's living room, and force them to listen to all the tapes too. Making another one like me traumatized with horror stories and living hell. Making us links in a new chain of disaster. That's also why I wanted to make a statement. To show you you're not alone. I wish I could stop this, of course, but I'm sure I can't. No matter how much I want to crush this bag under the blows of my bats, or the snips of my scissors to cut every film and feel like I am squishing the screen eyes that were watching me in my dreams, and let the blood running between my fingers as a smile. No, shouldn't talk like that. All I can do is embrace what happened to me and to all the people after me, and hoping we can find a way to reach each other. And maybe we can fight this together. Statement ends. Peut-être qu'ils vont pas me comprendre. I guess I have nothing else to say except... Hello, John. I'm sorry you've been through all of this. May this be in another dimension or a life that you don't remember. I can't even imagine how you must feel listening to your own voice being tortured for some insane reason. I somehow believe you'll be the last person to hear this tape, and I don't know how much damage they have done since you found them. I hope you won't have to survive another apocalypse again. I really wanted to say that nothing that happened and nothing that is happening right now is your fault. You did the best you could have done. I mean, you fought against godlike monsters. Of course, it wasn't going to be easy. At least those challenges helped you to not being an arse anymore to your employees and gaining some empathy. No, I'm not fair to you. You were scared for him, weren't you? I wonder when you realized you couldn't fool yourself anymore about Martin, though. But the tapes preferred the sad stuff, not the happy ones. I didn't listen to your loves, your hopes, your joys, just the despairs and pains and guilt. Don't be too hard on yourself, John. That's the worst decision you can make. We are our own demons, after all. And don't underestimate Martin again. That guy really surprised me a lot of times. I know, and not like I know, but my life taught me it can't be hard to trust, especially with the fears. but I guess it's worth trying. So don't stop trying. Okay, I'm done. Thanks for listening, John. And good luck. End recording.